Hello again. Right now we're on our third video in our AutoCAD 3D series. Right now I'm just going to take and I'm going to turn this grid off. I always do that. I don't know why I have the grid up always. But right now I'm going to draw a plate for our wheel assembly project that we have. Now our wheel assembly, you've seen it before if you've looked at our Inventor series. If not, check that out. Basically we start with a 6-part, 5-part piece. It's a base plate, 2 caster supports, an axle, a bushing, and a wheel. Okay, so that's all it is. So we're going to start by creating, first off, our actual base plate. Now the base plate right here, I'm just going to simply draw it out. Now if you're drawing in AutoCAD, a lot of people still draw in AutoCAD, but in our case I want this thing to be, say 5.25 by 3.25. There's our plate. That's all it is. I mean, literally, if I put a dimension on here now, if I go over here to my anotes and I put a dimension on there, I've now got that thing drawn exactly the right size. Now, that's all I really have to do. Now, the only other thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to punch some holes in it and I'm going to fillet some corners. So, to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fillet command and I'm going to use a radius of 0.5 and I'm going to fillet this corner to this corner and continue that all the way around my part. Now I could have done that with a polyline when I drew it the first time, but I find it easier to do this. Now the other thing I have to do is I have to draw a couple of circles. Now I'm going to draw my circles from the center of this. Okay, from the center of that. Now that has got to be 0.375 in diameter, in radius. Now I just did it 0.375 in radius instead of diameter, so I'm going to erase that. So let's try that again. Circle from the center of this, and it's supposed to be a diameter of 0.375. That's much better. Now I'm going to use a couple of little commands we have in AutoCAD that you're familiar with. I'm going to mirror from the midpoint over this way, get my ortho lock on so it's straight, and I'm going to mirror these over this way. Now that's all I got to do. Now I'm going to turn this so I'm looking at it isometrically. So I'm looking at my front, top, and right side. So there's my top, front, right side. Alright, actually that's my back. Why am I over there? There's the one I want. So I'm looking at the normal isometric view. Now, again, we've used our extrude command before. So we're going to extrude this, and I'm going to simply go EXTRUD. Okay, there it is. I'm going to select this shape, and I actually have to select these 4 circles as well. Now when I extrude this, it's trying to decide how far to go. Well, I'm going to go 0.625. That's the full width of the block when it's completed. So there it is. But the problem is, this is a solid and this is a solid. I need to be able to subtract this hole out of this plate. So I have to use a command called subtract. It's right there. Now, what it asks me, if you look down here, it's objects. I'm going to subtract, okay, from this, enter, this, 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 and this. So I'm going to subtract the 4 holes out of it. Now when I click on this, see how it's all one piece now? It's because this was a solid and I've now subtracted out those holes. Easy enough. Now I'm leaving it in wireframe. I work best in wireframe. Now I'm going to go back to my plan view. Okay. And there he is. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make another block. So if I go back over here to my draw tools, I'm just going to make a rectangle that's sitting here. Well, here's the problem with my rectangle. I don't know where it's at in relationship to this. So I have to make some construction lines. I know that it is 0.75 over this way, or excuse me, 1.75 inches over from each side. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to simply draw a line that does that. Now I'm going to make a polyline, and I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go up, straight up off the end of that guy, or straight down, doesn't matter. I'm going to come over this way, and I'm going to do the same thing off this one. Make a polyline, straight off that endpoint right there, straight down here and over like so. Now, if I fillet these 2 polylines together, so I fillet this polyline to this polyline, it didn't. It snapped. There's one of those things you have to watch out for that I didn't. I should have. I drew that from this top line and this and from the bottom line, so they are not coplanar lines. I've got to redraw. Okay, that's one of the problems with AutoCAD that I really have always had problems with. I'm going to draw on the 3D this time. Okay, that way I'm guaranteed to have them coplanar. Okay, what happened is, last time I was drawing from the bottom plane on this side and the top plane on this side. So now I can draw my polylines, and I can guarantee that they're on the same plane because I already checked that. Now watch. If I fill it that to that, and this one to that one, invalid. I sometimes get mad at AutoCAD. There he is. Now I've got a polyline right here, right? Now if I do an extrude again, and I select this polyline, now this time I want to go downward, but I only want to go 1/8 of an inch, or 0.125. So what's happened is this is now into this. So this new shape I made is cutting into that. So I have to use my subtract command again. So if I subtract from this shape, it should subtract it in. Now, let's look at something here real quick. Yep, it's in there. Okay, so subtract from this shape. Now if I go back over here to where I was before and look at it, I now have a groove cutting through it. These lines I made that were construction lines are sacrificial. I can do the same thing again, but this time I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw a line right off that and come out this way. Okay, and then I'm going to go over this way. Oh, I don't know how far. So let's start with a simple polyline here. So we're going to edit. I'm going to go polyline. I'm going to hook right here on the end of this, come straight up, boom, straight over this way, 1.5 inches, and then all the way back through my part like so, back over here, say 1.5 inches, and then back to close. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but I'm going to start from a different spot. I mean, well, no, let's go with the same spot. Okay, I'm going to go up this way, like I said, whatever, come in towards the center of the piece, 1.5 inches, down here somewhere, back over this way, 1.5 inches, and then close this shape. Now I've created 2 polylines. At this point, I'm going to use the extrude command again for this, and I'm going to tell them to come up 0.125. Now, I typed in 1.125. We got to undo that. I put a decimal in there. Okay, so we extrude this and this up 0.125. So they're just little shivers. There's little slivers going into that guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to subtract again. I'm going to tell it to subtract from this, and this again. And I've made my notch. Now, there is my finished plate. It has no properties assigned to it. It's just generic right now, but it is my base plate for my AutoCAD file. Thank you.